Love sports? Love culture? Well, I've got a brand new podcast called Take Line from Crooked Media, hosted by me, Jason Concepcion, and two-time WNBA champion Renee Montgomery. From the games to the players to the issues happening both on and off the court, we'll be tackling the important political and social issues happening in sports head on. New episodes drop every Tuesday, so follow and subscribe on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. As you know, our show, it's all about excellence in broadcasting. EIB! That's what it's about. And we, not only do we exemplify it, demonstrate it, inspire, but we also, every once in a while we highlight other moments of excellence in broadcasting. And we have to go over to KISW television.
Yes.
And talk about the fact that the only reason that KISW was made excellent, I mean, they're a good station, but the only reason they were really made excellent was because they talked about Steve Miggs.
Thank you.
That's what happened. That's what really put them above, made them above and beyond what broadcast excellence is all about.
Sometimes we have to provide the excellence for these news reporters to be excellent.
Of course, and that Steve Rabel kid, someday he is really going to be something in the business, you know what I mean? Holy catfish! See, I tell you, he's got a lot of talent, that Steve Rabel kid. He's going to do something.
I heard he's all right,
He's going to do big things, that kid. And, of course, earlier this week, we're talking about how when Steve shared a story about how his windshield was shattered while driving on I-5 when a pipe that was on the road was kicked up by another car, and Final Destination style came flying at Steve's windshield.
Dude, did you hear, though, I saw another news report talked about how a pole impaled an SUV.
Oh, no!
This happened in Missouri, and I mean, a giant pole, like the size of a tree.
Yeah, that is Final Destination right there, dude.
Right. So, I mean, I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Whoa. Everybody okay? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm not positive.
If there was a passenger or whatever, you're not in good shape.
Yeah, and then Miles sent me from the men's room, he sent me something that he saw on the Chive, and it was pretty much the exact same kind of a thing that happened to me just recently to someone else, but it was on the driver's side, and the pole was stuck in the windshield, but it was like same size pole and everything. So the poles are on attack, man.
It's a lot about poles.
Yeah, everybody needs to be careful with these poles.
Yeah, you need to keep your pole secure. You know what I mean? Secure your pole.
The one in Missouri, the giant pole that went through the window. Apparently, the driver only walked away with minor injuries after being. After that giant pole.
I am happy because poles can do some damage.
Yeah.
Damn. So, of course, Steve, being the responsible broadcaster he is, posted the picture of his damage on his Twitter page. And KISW News actually reported on this.
Yeah, I got a message from Brooke, who works over at KISW. Shout out to her. And she's just like, hey, is it okay if we use this picture? And I just laughed. I was like, well, they're not going to use this. I don't know what they're going to do with this thing. But I was like, yeah, do whatever you want with it. And just send me about $50. It'll be cool.
Oh, yeah. Did you get your 50 yet?
No, I haven't gotten that yet. No.
Yeah. Well, she at least she made good on her word. She used the picture. Steve Rabel even got to talk about this on the Monday night broadcast.
Some scary moments on I-5 this afternoon after a driver had his windshield shattered by a steel pipe. Steve Miggs posted this picture on Twitter saying he was driving by South Center Mall when he suddenly saw the pipe flying right towards him. Thankfully, Miggs was okay. No word yet on where that pipe came from.
Well, at least he said your name,
I just thought that was awesome that he didn't just refer to me as Miggs. Like, we're on pro level, man.
I didn't realize that.
Miggs was okay.
Oh, say Miggs, yeah, he's on pro level with you.
Next we'll be like, hey, Miggsy, he's doing okay over there with the pipe in his face.
Hey, Miggsy, the pipe in the face. All right, well, there you go. Thanks, Steve Rabel, and thanks, Brooke.
Miggs was okay.
I appreciate that he cared.
Yeah, I dropped your name and everything. Look at you. You're a star now. You're a TV star.
You were married. She wrote, I saw the report and kind of laughed when he said your last name only.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Miggs was okay.
And then I like this message from Michael, and I posted the video. He goes, boy, slow news day. Is Jesse Jones going to investigate? Yes. Jesse Jones has been looking for the owner of the pipe.
Well, listen, man, that's a lot of people, they think this is nothing. Until you have it happen to you where a pipe comes flying through your windshield and shattering glass everywhere while you're driving 60 miles an hour, I just think that people just think nothing is, because they watch too much television or movies and action stuff.
Yeah, come back to me when a giant log goes through your window.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's just like people are so desensitized, man. I would take a day off work. You came in, I would not have taken. I wouldn't have come in.
It would have been a tough sell for me to be like, I need a day off from work after this all went down, and I still found a way to go to Monday Night Raw the night before.
Well, that was therapy.
Yeah,
I would have definitely excused that as therapy.
You got to recover. You have to recover.
Or I was just in some weird state of shock, and adrenaline just got me to Monday Night Raw, and then it all hit me at 4 in the morning on Tuesday.
That's how it works. That's how I'm going to... Look, that's the excuse I'm using, Steve. So
yeah, that sounds like something either BJ or Joe would say.
Thankfully, Miggs was okay.
No, it shows he uses the old, my stomach hurts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's his go-to.
Yeah, the old Scotch flu with my son. Me, it's usually like I've walked down the hallway and tripped.
Or somebody said that they might be getting sick, and then you're like, oh, no, I'm getting sick. Ah!
Those are my favorites.
Well, listen.
It's like the placebo effect.
Don't forget what season this is.
It's 6th season.
No,
I'm not feeling too good today, BJ.
It's spider season. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I had one drop in my back yesterday, too. I was in my garage, and I felt something fall right down my hoodie, into my back, and I'm like, oh, no. And I'm shaking, doing a weird dance, and neighbors are probably like, what is wrong with him? Did he forget his medicine? These friggin' spiders and I are on alert, man. I mean, it's a battle now. I hate them all, and I'm usually friendly with them, but now this is the time of year, it's like, you will all die. Because, they bite me, and they give me flu symptoms for a day.
Yes.
Yeah, so be prepared. Spiders are come-haters. Hey, I got to tell you about this dad that had the best reaction when he finds out that his son's car was stolen by a hooker.
Thankfully, Miggs was okay.
It wasn't my father.
Yeah, okay, good. As long as you're okay. Steve's going to tell you all about this. He's got the news for you at 6:17.
BJ and Miggs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle.
Well, he's no Pulitzer Prize winner. Hell, he can't even pronounce Pulitzer. This is News with Steve Miggs.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks to Washington Lottery for giving us news and sports, and it's a very, very special day. Happy National Taco Day.
What?
Yeah. That's
what?
right,
It should be on a Tuesday.
That's what I thought as well. But you know what? Sometimes you just can't make that happen. It's going to have to be Taco Thursday.
All right, Taco Thursday.
So enjoy yourself a taco. I just like how they had to do a study about it and said more than 95% of Americans say that they like tacos. Who are the other 5%?
Oh, they are indeed commies.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they're commies, man. Kick them out. Kick them out.
You like sour cream on your taco?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, oddly enough, it's also International Toot Your Flute Day.
Pardon me?
Excuse me? Toot Your Flute Day.
Flute and Taco Day.
What if you don't have a flute? Can you toot someone else's flute?
Yeah.
Woo!
Wow. And
One time at band camp.
Yeah.
And it's National Vodka Day.
Oh, well, of course. That's a party.
Nice.
How do you think you get someone to toot your flute in the first place?
Lots of vodka.
That's it.
All right, well, let's talk about this off-duty cop that's in a little bit of trouble because, well, he's in Brooklyn, and he decided to pick up a prostitute. Now, he wasn't on the job. He was just doing what he does. Decides, you know what? It's hooker time. And he decides to pick up Taquana, who goes by the name of Unique. She's 20 years old.
She's unique.
Get on in my Jeep Wrangler. This is all odd. A guy from Brooklyn with a Jeep Wrangler. But it's a 2015, so it's not me, BJ.
You sure?
I rock a 2009 Jeep Wrangler.
Okay, good.
So then he's like, I need money before we go to the motel. So let me just stop at this ATM. I'm going to go grab the money. I'll leave the car running. I'll leave my gun right there as well.
Oh, sure.
My police-issued gun.
Oh, boy.
And I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Unique. I'll be right back for you.
Oh, boy.
Well, Unique got into the driver's seat, decided to drive off, stole the car, the gun, and everything else.
Good job.
They eventually got the Jeep back. They found Unique, but the gun, nowhere to be found.
Oh, boy.
here's the best part, though. So somebody decides, a reporter, of course, decides to go reach out to this guy. His name is Ali. Reach out to his dad, Eugene, because, we need to tell his dad that his son just got his car stolen by a hooker named Unique.
Hey, Pops, let me tell you about your genius boy.
And his dad's like, you gotta be effing kidding me. I'm in total shock. I never would have thought this. He's been in the service twice. I never heard that he would pick up a prostitute.
No.
Apparently, when he said he was in the service twice, that's because he was a U.S. Army vet, and he's also a part of the police force for about 13 years. Of course, they've immediately suspended him, and he's going to face some disciplinary action. Yeah. And I like that they talk to a couple of other cops. They say, everyone's got a mind of their own, but that's dumb.
Yeah. I don't know how he can be a cop anymore. I mean, that's totally illegal what he did.
You can't let him come back.
Yeah.
I guess they just have to make sure they can't just say we fired his ass. But I would imagine at some point they're going to fire his ass.
Yeah, I feel like that his ass should be fired.
Another person's ass should be fired is this Harvard University diving coach who's been placed on leave because of accusations of sexual misconduct. Apparently, when you're a teacher at Harvard, 31-year-old guy by the name of Chris, it's not a good idea to start texting pictures of your wiener to the female athletes.
Are you sure?
It's frowned upon, so he's in trouble for that.
I really think we need to check the Harvard bylaws book. I'm pretty sure somewhere in there it says it's... Yeah.
Oh, Vicky just came in via text. Vicky can toot my flute any day.
Oh, there we go.
It's a 360 number, so you have to go south for that flute, the toot.
Usually have to go south to toot the flute.
That's very true. BJ, I'm sure you were watching baseball yesterday.
Oh,
the New York Yankees beat the Oakland A's 7-2. You were talking about how the Yankees had a great record and what a bummer it would be if they ended up losing because they'd be just done. They ended up winning 7-2 in the AL wildcard game, so they move on to face your Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, it still sucks for the A's because they won 97 games and they only get one game. It's exciting, but it sucks for those teams.
You know what it sucks for?
Yeah.
People in Boston who like the Bruins. They got spanked yesterday. The start of the NHL season started, and of course the game that everybody seemed to be watching, it was on the NHL on NBC Sports, was the Capitals versus the Bruins because it was at home in Washington. Caps were the Stanley Cup champions. Had a great opening ceremony to celebrate the fact that they're the Cup winners, the big banner raising. But that probably contributed to the fact that the Bruins did not come out very strong. I think they scored in like the first 10 seconds. It was insane, and then they just kept scoring. I think they're still scoring. Actually, they ended up winning 7-0.
Nothing in hockey is just it's a beating.
Right. It was like 6-0 after the second period.
Wow.
It was a beating, but some people agree and say that, they're sitting in the locker room waiting as they're all doing all the pomp and circumstance of the banner raising, and you get cold because you're not out there.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
No, the Capitals just spanked them.
Yeah, we'll use that as... was Rask in the Nets, by the way?
He was at first, yeah.
Oh.
And then they brought in Halak, and Halak looked pretty good, so...
Oy.
But, yeah, it was, honestly, it wasn't all his fault. I know that sounds crazy when you give up 6 goals, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I mean, they just came out on fire, the Capitals did. So congrats to D. Ted Smith.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? Good way to defend the season, and we will just forget that was the home the opener for the Bruins, and we'll just... Game 2 will be the opener for the Bruins.
Okay, they have another shot tonight. They're playing again, so there you go. You'll be able to see them take on the Buffalo Sabres, which would probably be a better outcome than the game against the Washington Capitals.
Yeah.
As far as weather, 60 degrees and sun, and thank you, Law Tigers, for giving us news and sports.
Law Tigers. That's what they're about.
Steve, I got some bad news for you, man. I know how much you love this show, and it is just it's falling apart. Lethal Weapon, dude. How about this? Of course, they lost their star Riggs. I don't know. I forget the guy's name.
Crawford.
Yeah, Clayne Crawford had to leave because people said that, alleged that he wasn't a great guy to work with.
And apparently, he wasn't very nice to Damon Wayans. Sorry, Damon Wayans, because there was a scene where he got hurt doing a certain stunt, and Clayne was giving him a hard time, and I think that might have been part of the issue between the cast and Clayne.
And we had the audio of it, and I mean, honestly, to me, it sounded like Clayton Crawford was just razzing him as opposed to really being abusive. But then again, I come from a different generation. Maybe a younger generation would view it differently, at least because that was the evidence that they released to people, and it didn't really sound like he was being anything but just razzing the guy.
And so they replaced him with Sean William Scott Stifler.
Yeah.
And episode 1 wasn't really feeling it all that much, but said I wasn't going to give up on it. It could have just been maybe it was just a tough episode because they're trying to introduce this new character. We watched episode 2 last night. I actually enjoyed episode 2.
Oh, look at you.
Sean William Scott did a real good job, and it's starting to get a little bit of a better vibe of his character, and things seem to be settling a little bit better.
Well, now that you're thinking that things are settling, let me just tell you this great news. Damon Wayans says he's quitting Lethal Weapon.
I know. Come on, man.
Yeah.
How do you even stick through it?
How do you bring the other dude back from the dead? Can you pretend there was a giant dream?
Yeah, really.
On the show, he would have those kind of dreams so maybe he just wakes up and it's actually Marlon's character or Damon's character that's dead.
Yeah, and he's not even going to do the full season. He's quitting mid-season.
I give up.
Yeah, and here's why, and this is frustrating to me, though I have heard this from folks that do these hour-long shows. He says he's too old to be working 16-hour days. He's missing out on spending important time with his family.
It's not 16-hour days, 52 weeks of the year.
Yeah, but for these 22 episode seasons, I guess it's pretty grueling. I've heard other actors say this, and I would look. I'd like to give them a hard time, but I have heard this complaint before from other actors that these hour dramas are a beating.
This is more of an announcement, but I'm going to be quitting the show in December after we finish the initial 13. I'm a 58-year-old diabetic, and I'm working 16-hour days. I'm going to return to the stage and try to find my smile again. This has been very hard, especially last week. My mother had surgery, my daughter had surgery, and I had to look them both in the eye and go, I can't be there. So it's hard for me to play this loving, supportive father, husband, and friend on TV and be the guy in life that's telling everybody, I can't, I gotta work.
What do you think Clayton Crawford would say about that message?
Clayton Crawford is a little busy right now, just engaging and talking with people who are survivors in different situations. Like he's using his Twitter for that. He hasn't talked about the fact that I went to his Twitter page wondering if he had anything to say about it, but he's not talking about it at all. But man,
he's taking the high road. Yeah. Boy, look.
Can they swap him out and now Clayton Crawford plays the Damon Wayans character?
Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't just to see how he would do that character?
Do you think some of it, I understand, if that's necessarily the case, I'm not going to give somebody a hard time if they're doing what's right for their family and their health. I'm sure he's financially set. He's going to be okay. But what if part of the reason is that he's been catching so much crap from people online about the fact that Clayton's no longer on the show and everybody is pointing the finger right at Damon Wayans for the fact that he's not on the show.
I wouldn't be surprised, Steve, because again, and here's what irritates me. He's 58 years old, diabetic, and he looks so much better than I do.
Well, that's not hard.
I can't believe it. If you said how old do you think that dude is, I would have said he was younger than me. I didn't know he was just my age.
Oh, I figured he had to be late 50s just because he's been around forever.
Yeah, you're right. I just feel, it's just, wow. Yeah, Steve, I wouldn't be surprised. The Twitterverse, social networks, a lot of these actors, especially somebody his age, my generation, they're not used to that kind of beating. When they started out doing what they were doing, you didn't have this, and so I think the mental toughness, when you get, who wants it? You know us. You and I sometimes will go, guys, sometimes you can't stand the texters, sometimes the social networks drive me crazy. So after working a 16-hour day, which is grueling, I remember Kate Mulgrew, that's all she would ever talk about whenever she talked about Star Trek. Well, you'd think, okay, William Shatner's going to sit down and talk with her. All she talked about was, I miss my family. These friggin' long 1-hour shows are killing me. So he's not the first person that I've heard really complain about the hour-long drama for those, 3 to 6 months you're doing it. It's just hard for them to do.
Somebody get me some Kleenex for these poor individuals.
All right, I want to see you in 14 years.
You want to pay me what Damon Wayans is making and work those 16-hour days?
Here's what happens. I'm going to tell you this right now. Yes, you would do it for a while, but then once you had enough money, you wouldn't do it anymore, Steve. You'd be like, why do I need to put up with this anymore? I got a ton of money. So, yeah, initially
I would keep doing it because there's a person named Steve out there that's enjoying that show and doesn't want to see it end.
Oh, is that what you do? That? Yeah, you'd be that guy?
Another person named Red that also is loving the new Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
I love how someone says you're going to complain about a guy so much that he gets fired and then you quit. Bring Riggs back.
Yeah.
And that's the crappy part. They killed him off.
Yeah.
So you can't even bring the guy back. Hey, and I thought that. I'm like, why would you kill him off? What if you want to work him back into the show at some point? Maybe they make amends. Or maybe Damon Wayans decides to quit 2 days later.
I'll tell you this, Steve. Klain must be, look, for whatever reason, they must not want to work with him so bad because this isn't new. Like, this isn't an announcement for Fox. They probably knew at the beginning of the filming that Damon Wayans was done. I'm sure of it, which means they just don't like Klain at all. Because, he tells us now, but this isn't the first time he's been thinking of it. I'm sure when he got injured, I'm sure, like you said, all the backlash, he must have told somebody, guys, I don't know how long I can do this. I don't know how long.
One texter says he's under contract for 6 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. They sign you for 7 seasons for these shows, but if you want to get out of it, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't force somebody to work. It just means that if they can pay you the same amount of money for 7 seasons.
I think he should pay everyone on that staff for the next 6 seasons what they were going to make because they were banking on the fact that he was going to be a part of the show. They got rid of the other guy because they had faith in Damon Wayans keeping the show alive, BJ.
I agree.
They brought Stifler. You know how hard it probably was to bring Stifler onto that show?
Stifler's not easy to get.
Now he's effed.
Yeah.
You can't have him. What if now they're going to try to keep the show going with just Stifler?
Oh, they'll get another dude.
I don't know. I think at this point you just got to.
Oh, you
really? Cut your losses.
Oh, come on. I think if you can get used to Stifler, maybe you can get used to another dude.
You're going to lose the two stars of the show.
Well,
the show was based on the characters from the movie, and neither one's on the show anymore.
What if it still becomes a great show?
It could be.
I mean, look, man, MASH, the TV show, did so much better than the movie did.
I like one text that says maybe Danny Glover's available. Bring back the original.
Oh, how fun would that be?
Or have Damon's son play him.
I don't know. You know what? There's a lot.
Any of the Wayans.
But that would be funny if
his uncle.
What if you had revolving Wayans like they do with the KFC Colonel?
God,
you just had a bunch of Wayans coming in every season,
and it's always a Murtaugh.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's to say, like, never even just acknowledge it.
I like this.
I kind of do too.
I like this idea, Steve. We'll get this show. We'll make it good for you.
Zach has the text of all the day of everything. He just says Damon Wayans missed a golden opportunity to say, "quote I'm getting too old for this S."
Oh yeah,
I was expecting
the iconic
that
line.
See, you know what, Damon? Come on, man. You could have done that for the people. All right, yesterday, Steve, even though, he's sad about today, yesterday he got this wrong, too.
What statue with a human head and a lion's body can be seen near
Centaur.
Near the pyramids of Giza, Egypt? No.
A Minotaur.
No.
A Slapator.
No.
Slapator. Yeah, Steve is just not, his head's not in the game. And then with this whole lethal weapon thing, I mean, Sphinx was the answer. Steve was like, oh, sorry, Steve. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We'll play Beat Migs at 647 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. What's the difference between filing for bankruptcy and credit counseling?
Credit counseling is a useful process in some circumstances, but it does show up on your credit. In fact, from a credit scoring standpoint, credit counseling shows up just like a bankruptcy, so it's going to affect your credit as negatively as filing bankruptcy. In credit counseling, the idea is that a credit counselor works with your creditors on your behalf to try to lower interest rates or work out payment plans with your creditors to pay back your debt over time. In credit counseling, you almost always pay back 100% of the debt, sometimes at lower interest. And of course, some creditors will participate in that process and some won't. So you're usually left with kind of a mixed result with credit counseling and, of course, a high payment.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at ChooseTheRightChapter.com. That's ChooseTheRightChapter.com. Thanks for listening.
Love sports? Love culture? Well, I've got a brand new podcast called Take Line from Crooked Media, hosted by me, Jason Concepcion, and two-time WNBA champion Renee Montgomery. From the games to the players to the issues happening both on and off the court, we'll be tackling the important political and social issues happening in sports head on. New episodes drop every Tuesday, so follow and subscribe on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.